What's up, dudes? I hope everybody's doing well today, right? It's Saturday. I've got a crap ton of sideline work, which I'm super stoked to have. I should be grateful, and I am. I hope you all are doing okay, finding your way through all this world drama, because there's a lot of it. Anyway, I figured I'd try to lighten the load and answer some questions. Being that I've made YouTube videos for 3 to 4 years now on different products, different setups, and I've run my mouth, like diarrhea. It gets aggravating. But anyway, I still get the comments on all these old videos. How do I like Bronson Ross now? How, all of these things. So anyway, I figured I'd show you what I've got mounted up, which means I've tried it, and share some opinions on what I think about it. I'll show you what's in that mystery stack right there, and maybe anything notable inside the tool chest. The reason I got down to make this video is because I was going to be mounting up some Crux down low reverse kingpins until I realized they don't really work well with Bones bushings, I think, until I make some adaptations to them. The design, not perfect. I can see where it seems like Crux really is better used with a bushing that's not Bones. For the finish, the look matters to me. So where a lot of people might not care, I kind of care. And I think I've come up with something I can do with some tools to make it the way I want it, but I'm not going to get into all that today. So anyway, you guys want to see what's up here? All right, let's get into it. First off, let's go to the wall. So, I have a Eric Dressen. Who doesn't love Dressen, right? And on here, Ace 66. And this was back when I was carving the groove in my trucks, which I got to admit I like. But this one's really fanned out, not as functional. And in trying like slappies, I tried to use this as a slappy deck. And you know what I realized? That groove on my rounded curves, it's not super beneficial. I get really grabbed on to the whole surface of the rounded curve. So it's not good, You're better to be on the smallest portion of the truck that you can ride on. On here, I got the Bones G2s, and I got those Alva Power Station wheels. I dig the wheels. They're not completely reversible like the finish. I mean, you could do it. But for somebody who really pays attention to the detail, I hate the way it looks when they're reversed inside out. I don't like it at all. So I don't do it. And this board, as far as this board goes, this board was actually given to me. The lack of the nose, there is a small kick nose on there. I like a big one. What can I say? I like a big one. But I dig the nostalgia of these old decks. So I've got it up on the wall, and I cruise it around. Casual, fun stuff. Probably like to switch it out for some softer wheels. Maybe some OJs. And get into it on some dirt trails or something. What's next? All right. Boy, this is one of the long-time favorites. I'm not going to take apart this board. This has got my Gull Wing Baku truck. Dig that, right? This is how I learned to grind, guys. For my stand-up 50/50s in the bowl, it happened on a half pipe first. When I got locked into that, I hadn't really done a successful grind ever. But when I got locked into that groove, I got 10 feet. Maybe 5 feet, right? Maybe 5 feet. But I got 5 feet of grind over those kingpins, and it felt solid, man. It felt like I was on a roller coaster ride, like that safe. So that's the reason not long after I started making a little notch in all my trucks, because maybe I liked the way some performed different than others. And you know what? disclaimer, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what I really think about these products. And I'm going to get hardcore about it. So anyway, the deck's a Blood Wizard. It seems like it's almost an exact copy shape-wise as like the Black Label Curb Vulture deck. It's 8.88. I'm not exactly sure of the wheelbase. I think it's around a 15-inch wheelbase. I like a little longer wheelbase, so I'm not really going sub 14, but sub 15 if I can avoid it. Do I have a tape measure in here? Yes. Let's just tell you what the wheelbase is. From the center of the bolt. All right. So the wheelbase on the Blood Wizard is 14 3/4. And I've got no riser pads on this deck. For the first 2 or so years of skateboarding, I didn't ride any riser pads with 60mm tires. All right. And like I said, Bones G2. So right here is my Grosso. Rest in peace, brother. We miss ya. I love this deck. This was my first... Okay, so when I started out, or when I ended, let's go back there. When I ended in the 90s, the early 90s, I don't know what year exactly I stopped, but it was probably around 91, 92, 93. It's all hazy, right? Those were the hazy days. But I rode a popsicle like everybody. I rode like 48-inch wheels. I don't even know. Super tiny. Like not much bigger than the trucks. It was crazy. And I just did what everybody else was doing. So when I got back into skating at the age of 46, I was 46 and a half or so, my kids started skateboarding. And of course, I would go right back to what I rode last. Right? So this is the story I told where I go to the shop. The guy at the shop he sold me a Mullen Uber Light. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. It was a special edition, wall hanger. He's like, and I had money. He's like, it's a little more money. I'm like, so give it to me. I took it. I think it was a 7.75. He put some like 129 trucks on there. And I was out skateboarding it, my old setup at 46, and some dude laughed at me. Some older guy kind of laughed. And it was a cool laugh, like a chuckle. And I was like, what? And he goes, why are you riding a kid's toy? And I look at him like, what are you talking about, dude? Are you ragging on my ride? Kind of thing. And he's like, that's a toy. That's made for kids. You're 200 pounds plus, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you need to get a man-sized board. And so I woke up to it, right? I go out, I get a popsicle now. And I get like, things at 825. I get some bigger trucks. It feels good. I'm doing good on it. I skateboard on it for about a year. I want to say about a year. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I want to get like a cruiser. And truthfully, I just love skateboarding. I wanted to tell my wife I had to have a reason for a new board. So I need to get me a cruiser board when I'm just following the kids. And when I got into skateboarding again, I really got into it just to coast around behind my children and flag them, to get between them and some obstacle coming their way so that they could take my shoulder instead of my kids. I was a super protective daddy. So I ordered, my first one was the Jeff Grosso Endgame deck. Didn't love the graphic, but I love that shovel shape a lot. And I'll tell you, I got on it. I got the wheels, a setup for a cruiser. I took it out to the bowl, and I got on it, and from literally the first drop-in, it felt so good that I never wanted to ride a popsicle again. I was done. Something about the shape just feels fast. You know, there's enough nose on there to do everything you want. But ever since then, stoked. So this is a 925. I think it's a 15.5-inch wheelbase. Let's check it out. Yep. 15.5-inch wheelbase. I put some Santa Cruz rails on it. I've got some OG standard independent trucks on here. Nothing's hollow. Nothing's forged. And it's just as rad as the other ones. Got the welcome wheels. I don't know if they're still making these. I know these are older. They're 56 millimeter, and I believe they're 102. Hold on. Let me have a look at that. 102A. It's so sad. My parents told me at 40, you're going to need glasses. And I was like, why would you say that? And they were like, everybody needs glasses at 40. At least reading glasses. And 40 hit, and I didn't need them. 45 hit. Now we're having some issues. So, anyhow, Bones bushings are on every skateboard in here. This is the one I talked about, just blowing out the back bushing. You know, I ollied a 4-stair at 225 pounds, and dude, check that out. Look at the bottom bushing. The bottom bushing, how can I show you? The bottom bushing is out even with the truck. No way. Dude, I damaged that. Crazy. But anyway, I love this deck. I love the wheels. I love the trucks. I am rocking. Check that out. I got Bones Reds on the back wheels, which I'm not a fan of the Bones Reds. Interesting. I got Bones Reds on every wheel except that wheel. And I got a Bronson Raw. Bronson Raw. Remember, the end of the video, I'm going to share my opinion on all of this gear specifically. And I'm going to break it down to a few sentences. All right. The next board, guys. Now, the Grosso shape, I love. For street skating, I love it. I also love the board that's up next. It's the Black Label Curb Vulture. Same shape as the Blood Wizard deck I showed you before. But the Grosso is a little bigger, so those are an 8.88. Let's just grab the next one down. All right, so here's the Black Label Curb Vulture. It's the same shape deck as that Blood Wizard that I had down before that had the gold wings on it. This is 8.88 wide. And let's check the wheelbase on this one. Just to make sure it's the same as the Blood Wizard. Just as I suspected, they're both at 14 3/4 inch wheelbase. So for me, this is a fun board on the street. If I'm messing around on a mini ramp, I like this board. If I'm messing around in a bowl that's not like super fast and maybe I'm not trying to double truck the deep end at high speed, dude, I can have so much fun on this size board. No problem, I like it. Once I get going faster, I like to be on something bigger. And then that's where I jumped up to the Grosso, right? So the Grosso gives me that extra size and that wheelbase. So I end up jumping up another 3/4 of an inch in wheelbase, right? So from 14 3/4 to 15.5. Bingo, man. That's my sweet spot. I love it. I probably actually prefer 16-inch wheelbase. But anyhow, the Grosso gets me there. The one thing I don't like about the Grosso at high-speed skateboarding in the bowl is I feel like the tail is just a little too narrow. I want a little more of a wider tail under my foot. And that's where this black label comes in, right? The OG bars board has a wider tail, man, and it makes a difference for me. I ride my back foot pretty much almost hanging over the edge of the board. I like to feel that board under me a little more bored when I'm going fast. Let's just measure them and see what the difference is. There's the Grosso tape measure. So I'm going to measure it at the back, but I'm going to have the tape measure not hang over. So right there, the first place I get a good measurement on the tail, on the anti-hero Jeff Grosso shape, I get 7 inches. On the black label, the black label's getting 8 inches. A whole extra inch of width. So one day after riding the black label, I realized how much more secure my back foot felt on the tail. And you know, when you're going really fast, the more grip tape under your shoe on that back foot is good, especially if you have a tendency to sort of hang your foot off the back of the board, and I do. Hands down, at high speed, I want at least this deck. And this deck's up next. So let's get into this one. On here I got Ace trucks. These are Ace 66. I got the Bones Swiss bearings on here. Like those. Those are rad. Who doesn't like those? I got Rock Candy wheels. Those are cool too. I love Ace trucks. I love the way they feel. I'd say they're probably my favorite feeling truck. If they made a 10-incher, I'd be in. I'd be totally in. But they don't. They don't. Ace 66 is the best. And I think that's around 9.5. I'm kind of guessing. And I'm not going to measure it just because. Let's see. So let me put these back up after I get them done. Get that one done. That one done. Oh, on this one. Oh, the curb vulture. So I'm riding Thunder hollows on here. Dig the way Thunders feel. Thunders feel so good on transition. Carving, I like it. Street, I like it. I got no beef with Thunders, except they don't make them 9 inches yet. If Thunder made a 9 and a 10-inch truck, I'd be all over that like a dirty shirt, man. It probably would take over and be my ultimate favorite. All right. So here, I have another OG bars. It's like underused. It's just waiting in the wings to have its day of glory. And I'm riding some 169 titanium indies on here. And there's just nothing wrong with that. One of my favorite wheels is the Rain Skate. What's that wheel called? I forgot. Oh, Black Rain, right? I got some more Swiss bearings on there, and honestly, nothing I can say wrong. The skeleton key rails are my favorite because I think they have the most height. Really good handle since I don't rail slide in the bowl or anything yet. But this is basically a very similar deck to the Grosso deck, which I'm skating on the street. So at any point, like when I wear out that blue one, I could rotate that to the street, use this in the bowl, and I'm good to go. Except I've been riding 10 inches in the bowl. All right, I know you guys seen this one. I love this one. So I got a medium Bones bushing on the top, which honestly, that looks blown out too. I'm gonna need to spend about $100 with Bones and order some new bushings. Those are the Gullwing Mission 10 truck. I get a lot of comments from people that are weirded out about the fact that this is rounded. And they say they question the truck because it's rounded. And I don't get that. I don't see how that should be a concern at all for any kind of riding. So, you know, grinds, tail grinds, nose grinds, crooked grinds. I don't know because I don't do that stuff. But if you do, can you answer the question for the people watching this video that might care in the comment section below? Do you think the rounded truck base matters at all? I can see how it could help matters. But if you can leave a comment down below your opinions, I'm sure some guys would like to read about it and see and possibly ask you another question. I really like these trucks. They ride a little bit higher. I do have a 1/4 inch riser pad on there. I have used taller wheels on these. I am not afraid of getting wheel bite with these trucks. These trucks do not get wheel bite much at all, as I show you a little scuff in that glare. It's just not a factor I deal with the Gullwing truck. So if you're super sketched on the idea of wheel bite, I would fully recommend this truck. It's a 10-incher, so if you can't get your hands on the Indy 215s, get these. I honestly think they ride fantastic. But again, stick around to the end. How can I leave out the wheels? Right? I spent years on these. Where is it? The Spitfire. So this is a 99A, 60 millimeter. I got the conical full, which means it's a little more square. It's not so rounded. I think their classic is the one that's a little more rounded. I like that wheel too. I like it better now that I know how to grind. I can command the weight to keep myself locked in with the rounded wheel. But I will say this, when I learned, I needed this wheel. It gave me a lot more security up against the coping. I felt like it kept me safer on the skateboard. So there's that. I didn't even talk about that deck there, so I'll talk about this one. This is the Black Label Thumbhead. It has the same shape as the board that we just looked at. That one's called the Racing Stripe, the black board, 10-inch, super fat tail. Let's see what that tail is. So that tail's over 8.5. Puts it over a 1/2 inch more than the 9.25 wide OG bar board. But you end up with 10 here instead of 9.25. I love this deck. I had a buddy I skated with that rode this deck, and I kind of laughed at him for a year. 2 years. He rode this deck with 169s. I ride this with 10-inch trucks. He rode it with 169s. And you know what? I will admit, this particular person knew more about all of it than me because he's an engineer. I ended up coming back to see things the way he was doing it. I had to go my own route. I had to try everything out myself. As I started getting into 50-50 grinds, before the groove, I realized I want to get my trucks more narrow so I have less real estate sliding around on the coping. That's part of the reason for the groove in my trucks. Once I rode the Gullwing, I got the grind in that groove. I realized I wanted that security. You know what? At my age, the fact that I never knew how to 50-50 grind as a kid, F it, right? Who cares? I want to be safer, but I want to be able to go into some grinds really fast and do something I feel good about, and it made me feel good. So that's what I did. But on here, I dig these wheels. Speed Lab wheels, partnership they did with Pope Skates. I think that's a skate shop out of San Diego. He makes some really rad decks. I'm waiting for him to send me one because I want to review it. And I don't have the money for decks anymore. But you see, I got enough too. These things last me a long time. If somebody wants me to ride their brand and talk about it, I gladly will. Send it to me. But on this board, I got Polar Bear 10-inch trucks. Now I want to say something. This is probably my favorite truck of the 10-inch. I'm not taking an Indy 215 over this. I like this. This is a little bit of a lower truck. So on this truck, I got a 1/4-inch riser stacked on top of an 1/8-inch riser. I like that. It gives me a good height, but I'm riding a taller wheel. I'm riding a 62 millimeter on here. And I'm not getting any wheel bite. The truth of the matter is, these things are carvy. They really are carvy. They're super beefy. But like you can't see, like this groove right here is deep, man. I can almost hide my whole finger in it. Up under here, it's got some massive gussets that are really gutted out and scooped out to keep them comparable on the weight. But man, if you look at them, they're just it's a beautiful truck. The interesting thing about Bear trucks is you've got an extra set of holes on the front and the back. You cannot make your wheelbase any bigger. It is what it is on the board. But you can make it smaller. If you like a smaller wheelbase, but maybe you like riding a longer board, you can change it from a 1/4-inch to a 1/2 inch overall. And that's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. So it doesn't really affect me because I like a wide wheelbase. I wish somebody made a truck that worked that way if it could. However, I'm riding this deck because it's pre-drilled with 2 sets of holes. I'm riding at 15.5 when it can be a 16. I prefer a 16, but I feel like this deck is made for 15.5. And once the wheel starts to get too far forward and I don't have the use of this concave, wheelbase seems like more of an issue. So I like it better. Now, like me, you know, I've tried, right? Of course I've tried. You've been seeing a lot of this board lately. This board is the test board. Why? Because it's already thrashed. And I dug out some wheel wells on this guy. We got massive wheel bite because I'm using Indies, but the wheel bite might be a little worse now because these are 65 millimeters. So I've been doing some tests trying to learn how to slappy. Now there's some people on here, they think like, my channel is all about trying to learn, and it's trying to overcome fear. I don't think I'm really good at any of this stuff. I'm just trying to power through it. I know I'm not doing my slappies right. If you're one of those slappy purists, I know I'm not doing it right. I'm trying to just do something so that I can get comfortable enough to try to get to it. And I may never get to it. You know, like my 50-50 in the bowl, the stand-ups, front side, back side, in that groove. That's just the way I do it. I'm not ever going to change that. I like it that way. But this board is not utilizing the 15.5. I am up at 16. That is the reason for the wheel wells. I definitely ground the wheel wells out because I like the 16-inch measurement. And I just didn't feel like doing any more wheel wells on the other boards. So I left it like that. Indies. Grind King Kingpins. And you know what? My bones bushings look good on this one. Almost done. So here's another deck, another Grosso shape with a skinny tail. Skinny tail. It's almost an inch skinnier than that Black Label, right? The OG bars. Great street shape. I love it in the street. I like the OG bars with the wider tail. Better at high speed in the bowl. This is great mini ramp board. I love this board. Probably my favorite on a mini ramp right here. Shout out to Grosso again. Some hollow Indies, 169s. They fit really good on here. I got a couple. I got stacked risers. I don't know why I did that. I'm thinking I'm thinking I probably rode this a soy rocket wheel, and I probably wanted to try to not wheel bite as bad. I'm not really sure. But yeah, anyway, we've gone over that board. What else is in here? Okay, so I'll show you some more. You guys remember the death box? Death box. This is a heavy piece of wood. So, and it's, I think it's a 16.5-inch wheelbase. Let's measure this one. It's a 16.25-inch wheelbase. I am not rocking my Avenue trucks. I'm using them, but I don't feel like I'm rocking on. I don't really like them. This is sort of a grocery getter, which I really don't get groceries because I'm not close enough to the store. But I don't love these trucks. I've thought about trying to slappy on them, but I realize I'll just break them in no time. I wouldn't be surprised if I broke them on the first day out. I'm using Bronson Raws in the street. So I got an addendum to my Bronson Raw video at the end, at the very end. This board has a custom hammerhead shape. And why does it have a custom hammerhead shape? Is because it used to be an ice cream cone. So the board went like this. It dipped in, and then it went like this again, and it sort of had like this rounded slipper nose. It looked like my slippers. And when I look down on a skateboard, I like to see that shovel. It feels like I'm in a Ferrari flying, like hauling ass, you guys know. But when I was going around the bowl on that ice cream cone, dude, it was ugly. I could not dig it. And I thought, what can you do to make this board usable? So I did that. I don't mind the shape, but the nose is a little short. So when I'm riding it in the bowl, I just get a little sketched because I'm looking at it. The mind's a powerful thing, man. You got to feel good about what you're on. And some people not, dude. Like, why is it whenever I try to remember a name, I lose it? Wheelbarrow on Instagram, at Wheelbarrow. Willis Kimball, the OJ rider. Those Willis Kimball videos where he's rocking those OJs, he just does some amazing crap on that. And I mean, I jones for those kind of videos. That's pimp. I want to do something like that on this board. So, am I going to keep those suspension trucks on there? Probably not. But I do want to get some big, fat, soft OJs and try to take this thing off-road. Maybe slappy this board. I seem to like doing slappies on big boards. I don't know. There's no doubt in my mind it's a quality deck. It's heavy. It's rigid. It's badass. I just didn't dig the ice cream cone. What I don't have in my collection is a flight deck. And I'd like to have a flight deck. I'm particularly interested in that Andy Anderson flight deck a lot. I dig that shape. I dig that skater. So that is on the short list whenever I get to that list. That's definitely up front. Would you guys like to see the boards in this stack here? Let's break them down. First one is a garage door made by Alva. This thing's 11 inches. Let me measure it. God, dude. Is that really 11 and a half? It really isn't 11 and a half. But it is 11. It's massive. Look at that. It makes me feel like the longboard I have on the wall out there, that 9-footer. It's big. I thought to myself, dude, I'm going to order some of those 11-inch Thunders and put them on this Thunders. Those 11-inch trackers and mount them on this board with some big gnarly wheels. And then I took it down off the wall and I stood on it. Okay, so imagine this. I'm standing on this board right now and I'm looking down. And what do I feel like? I feel like I'm on a skimboard. I feel like I'm like riding a dolphin fast through the water, like they did at SeaWorld back in the day. No, not a dolphin though, a manatee. It feels like I'm standing on a manatee, and that's weird. I can't get into this for anything, so what I'm going to do is, over there in the corner, I'm going to make a shoe rack out of it. Bookshelf style. You got to repurpose them. That's pretty rad. Have you guys seen that thing they do with the light? When they hang it up just a few inches from the roof, and they put that light bulb fixture that has a light bulb out both sides? It'd be pretty pimp for this deck, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. All right. Next. This was the weird one. I got this when our local skate shop was closing. It was on clearance. I picked it up for 30 bucks. I didn't know any of the specs. I thought for 30 bucks, I wouldn't mind having an Ever-Slick deck. Because it's Ever-Slick. I mean, that's 90s, right? I dug that. But then I got on it and it felt like I was riding like a piece of white pine. Let me tell you the measurements on this guy. So we have like under 8.5. I think they said 8.5, but it's not. It's less. 8 3/8 or something like that. Oh, wheelbase. This ain't the weird deck. All right, this ain't the weird one. Wheelbase, I think I said 16 in a video. 14.5. 14.5. That's not bad. Okay, now I'm tripping. Where's that weird deck? What do I got here? Oh, yeah. Right there. It's the only real collector's board I bought. When it came out, I thought, you know what? You're a Jeff Grosso fan. And later on one day, this is probably going to be a sought-after deck. And you know what? I love this deck. I'm not going to sell it, though. I'm going to keep it. I did a review on this deck when I bought it. I talked about how my mom and dad would hate the design. But you know what? I think this is where, you turn over a new leaf in life. Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. And I think in a lot of ways it means, turn it around. Quit drinking, quit drugging, and try to do what's right. You got to crucify that old self. Boom, there you have it. So anyway, love this one. Probably going to keep this one forever. But I had it hanging on the wall, and then we had like the house shook. Everything fell. I love the blue top on that. All right, I think this was the weird deck then maybe. The Hosoi, the Elgato. I bought this deck probably because it's going to be the one that measures with a really long wheelbase. But I hated it. I tried. Let's see. This has got to be it. All right, 15.5. This is not the weird one. Did I measure something really wrong one day? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Something about some of these boards. They feel long, they feel narrow, and they feel stiff. Some hang up I have with it. Wow. So I didn't buy this one. It was given to me for somebody that thought I could use it to make a project. But you gotta not appreciate the sanding on this Elva. This puppy's not rounded at all. It's like somebody said, hey, I'm just gonna knock this out super quick. Yeah, there again, you got that stubby, little tiny nose. This is another shelf. You can't knock this one. Most of you guys have this board. Anti-hero. Boom. I love this deck. With my situation with tails, I don't end up with as much tail as I like to really haul butt. But this is definitely one that I've got in line to use. This will probably be a little bit more of a street deck. I think, I don't even know how wide it is. I think it's got to be 9.5. Guess. Nope, 9. 9 inch. What's the wheelbase? $15-inch wheelbase, so that's good. Mr. Project. Bet you could never guess what's under this paint. This was my very first shape board my kids bought me on Father's Day. This is also my Jeff Grosso Endgame. This was the first one. The one I wore out first and the one I decided to turn into a project. And I think I bought the Avenue trucks. And then I wanted to try to fix the wheel well situation. So this is odd. It worked pretty good. I felt like I was going to break it because I'm a big dude. And that doesn't seem to be a lot of wood. Like, it doesn't seem to be enough wood right there along the line of that truck. So I felt like crack factor going into the bowl was risky. But I wanted, this is back when I was trying to ride super loose. And I was really weirded out about wheel bites so bad. And one time I put a set of wheels on that the wheel would go right up into this wheel well perfectly. But I got wheel bite. I didn't get wheel bite. I got wheel lock. Because the wheel actually fit perfect. Like, let me show you. Like, I came around the corner on the front. And this wheel came right up. This wheel came right, can you see that? This wheel came right up into that thing, and it was like, you're done. Did a cartwheel out of that one. So, not really good for anything. Maybe some Carver trucks. I've never ridden those. What is this? Alright, so this one's interesting. This was another Alva deck. I cut down. I totally changed the shape. I made it the Grosso deck shape in the nose, but I made the tail wider. And this one has a 16-inch wheelbase. And this is my favorite. Out of all the decks I have, this is my favorite. And see where the width's at on this one. So it's still a 925 width. It's the exact shape of the Grosso, but it's wider in the tail. And this has been my favorite deck. The 16-inch wheelbase is just on the money. I'm going to do a paint job on this. I have been wanting to do a paint job on this for a couple of years. Hopefully I'll get this done soon. I ground in my own wheel wells on this board. They're not excellent, but they do the trick. So this one I dig. Last, but not least, actually not last, got the Ben Rayburn here. Same shape, right? Gotta dig that shovel, but this one is a little smaller. (9-inch), still has a 15-inch wheelbase. I like this deck when I did it. I did a video riding Thunders right after I grooved them, and I was catching some really good grinds on this thing. Once I started getting into skating fast, these boards felt too small to me. So I have one on the wall. This was given to me. Wouldn't be something I'd buy, but I like it. I like collecting skate gear for sure. I tried riding this. I had a gnarly slam on this board. This Steve Stedham. That was crazy. That was a lot of dust. This one stayed on the wall through the earthquake. Yeah, just a funny nose. It doesn't give me that square, fast Ferrari feeling. And I do like the Lion, though. Above the window, I have the Navarrete. I have yet to ride a creature board I really like. And this one also feels very rigid, very narrow. Maybe it's the shape of the nose. I don't know. Some boards, do you guys get like that? Some boards I feel like I just can't ride. There's one in the garage that my daughter rides. It's a Silly Girl pool supply board. I think I bought that when I was trying to go down. It's an 8.5. Same shovel shape as the Grosso. It's the same shovel shape as the Grosso. I really liked it. But it was right about that time I realized going down wasn't better for me. I wasn't feeling more secure. I was feeling less control. And I think it was that front to back stability. I was just feeling like it wasn't there, you know? So there it is. Okay, so look, I promised that at the end I would talk about the bearings, the trucks, the decks, okay? What matters the most? I think the size of your board matters a little bit. For a big guy, you want to go fast, I think a big board's important. It's just going to help you feel more secure. Does that mean you have to do that? No. Does that mean you can learn to ride? Or you can't learn to ride something smaller or bigger? No, you can do whatever you want, man. You'll get it. And if that's you and that's your personality, go for it, homie. Do what you want, you know? But you could ride this wheel, popular Bones wheel. You could ride the Spitfire wheel, super popular. Love it. If you buy it in white, it's going to look like a piece of bamboo in no time. Got an OJ wheel. That I love. You got all these different durometers. And I always dig that wheel. What's the best? What's the best? Truth of the matter is, dude, it's all good. It's all good. If you think your harder wheels are faster than your softer wheels, they're not. They sound faster. It's just the way it is, okay? The diameter of your wheels probably changes things a little bit. In our minds, these things are big. These tiny increments are huge. But in actuality, it's not really that big of a deal. Can I get on an 8.88 board with a 14.5-inch wheelbase and fly around the bowl? Of course I can. You know, there's a lot of mental game that we're playing there. And depending on you and your personality and how you deal with fear, you're gonna make some things a mountain where other people go like, have some cheese with your wine, buddy. And I'm sure that's how I sound, but I'm not making any excuses. I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to overcome. So I'm trying to dial in what makes me feel like it gets my back and makes me that much more confident, which is tiny, to go into battle. Because that's how I look at it. When I jumped off those stairs yesterday and I slammed on that first one, why? I just collapsed, dude. I don't know what happened. My bushings blew out on that, I think. I don't know. But that's intense. And I think that's the part where gear plays a role for us older guys. You know, we need something to make us feel like I've done it now. I've got the perfect setup. Because feeling good matters, you know. Willis Kimball can get on that board and go right in the dirt and kickflip off a house into a barn and rail slide a corral, right, over the top of a horse. And he can do it barefoot. Because he has no fear, man. He has no fear. We're grappling with some intense fear, and we're all at different levels of doing it. So I think you got to get out there. You got to try all that gear. You got to find out what you like and when you like. And I've done that, dude. I am the king of making excuses and the king of trying out something new and trying to come out with a new hack for whatever, you know? Like the Crux Down Low Kingpin. I ride them on Bones bushings. This washer, in my opinion, is stupid. I'm going to try to grind this bolt a little flatter so that it works with my Bones bushings. Because to me, this isn't going to make me feel good about it. And if I take the time to grind this in, I'm going to have a better slappy. You know I will. The diameter is going to be hanging over a lot less, right? So that'll cause me greater speed, more confidence, and like Red Bull, I'm going to have wings, right? No, it's total bullshit. The truth of the matter is, this is all gimmicks. It's total bullshit. The bearings are all the same. This one's a little louder. I think I don't like reds. Reds are good, dude. They're all good, right? Trucks, honestly. How many brands of trucks did I show you? I like them all. Honestly, haven't been on a truck I didn't like. All right, so my recording got stopped because Jason from American Home Security wanted to call me on the weekend. What was I talking about? Oh, trucks. I've ridden all the brands, dude. I haven't ridden a truck I don't like. Dude, they're all pretty damn good. And you know what? I can adapt to any. So, some of you guys watch my videos and you say, you know what, dude, just shut up and ride. I'm with you. I agree. Somebody who's a good skater can skate anything, dude. You know, Omar Hassan. Dude, I watched a guy ride a skimboard the other day down like a couple of stair sets, dude. He had no wheels. He wasn't worried about hardness. On a skimboard. Whew. Thing was epic, dude. That was epic. He firecrackered him. He did it smoother than I would have. So anyway, does it all really matter in the end? No. But feeling good does. It's like the gear you wear. Like my red shirt. I need to get me a red hat. All right, dudes. We'll see you later. This is going to be one hell of an edit. I had a lot of screw ups. All right. Peace, dudes.